Hello and welcome. My name is Marbella Barajas, and this is the 7 psychedelics that are used for healing and or consciousness exploration. So we'll be going into all of these in this class today. Just want to thank you for being here and any other future classes and anything like this that you're interested, please feel free to email me and I can customize a specific class for your interests and or let you know when the next group classes start. So here shortly, we're going to have a student come on to this live class, and I hope you enjoy and learn with us along the way. And so like we are going to start, we mentioned last class all the different ways you can use mushrooms and how that specific psychedelic, I would say, is at the very bottom of our tier of psychedelics we're going to go through today. We're going to start at the bottom. And when I say the bottom, I mean the most safe, the most manageable psychedelic you can work with. And like we mentioned in our last class, mushrooms, you can microdose, you can macrodose, and this is typically anywhere from a 1.5 hour to 2 hours of a microdose experience. And in a
Mhm.
macrodose, it can be anywhere from 5 to 6.5 hours long. Would you say that this is accurate? And what has your personal mushroom experience been like?
I would say that that is about accurate. So I went up this last 2 times to 3 grams. Um, I'm going to say that it was probably 5, 6 hours long. I wasn't really methodical about it in the sense that I didn't record what time it was. And once you're in it, time is it felt like hours and hours, but then whenever I would look at the clock, it would be like, oh, 5 minutes has passed. So it's kind of hard to tell, yeah. But I would say that, oh, and both times to come out of it, essentially, I just kind of, when I felt like, okay, oh, it's enough now, I just went to sleep. So that makes it even harder for me to tell really how long did it last.
Yes, and it's really important you mention the time dilation. Other psychedelics are different, and I'll point them out when we get to them. Mushrooms, the time dilation feels like that. It can be where it feels like hours, and it only has been 5 to 20 minutes long
Yeah.
of the time. And it's one of those psychedelics that really like to work and open up your mind and be able to create new neural pathways. A lot of other psychedelics work on this exact same thing. The special thing that I will say lastly about mushrooms is that the neural network that mushrooms operates on with its mycelium, it's literally a communication mushroom all in the ground beneath us. All around are these mycelium networks, and it's what allows the trees to talk to the flowers, the the bushes to be able to talk to the grass. It's like this neural connection pathway that when we ingest mushrooms, it gives us this same receptivity to our nervous system where different parts of our body start to communicate with one another. And this is the beauty and I think the somatic nature of psilocybin and magic mushrooms is that it really does hone you in on connecting you to your body, connecting you to your emotions, allowing new pathways of communication to happen. Um, However, this starts to become different when we start going up the chain. We're going to now switch over to LSD. And this psychedelic, as a microdose and as a macrodose, are very similar to mushrooms in the sense that it has a similar time dilation. You could be in it for 10 minutes and it feels like lifetimes. Um, so it is very good to microdose, and the microdosing protocol for this would be a little bit different than mushrooms. As just like any other psychedelic, you do get depleted of minerals every time you work with them. But LSD on a microdose is super great for um, I would say productivity, not on the day on the microdose itself, but the day after, whatever it is that you emotionally or somatically process through that LSD microdose on the day of, the next day, you feel lighter, you feel more focused, and you have a sense of renewed confidence to be able to tackle to do lists or project manage a passion of yours. So, this is something also to consider. But I will say, other different than mushrooms, an LSD microdose can last anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. So
Oh,
it
wow.
is longer in its experience. It's not intense, it is just smooth, clear, creative. And if this is a true LSD microdose, it is also subtle, it's in the background. But of course, as you start going into more stimulating microdoses, that changes. You can feel like maybe if you're taking a stimulating LSD experience as a microdose, it will feel like colors are brighter. Um, Potentially, your body wants to somatically move and process energy. Um, but as you start getting into the macro dosing scales, this is anywhere from a little over half a tab or one drop of 100 UG to 150 UG, or a full drop or two drops of 100 to 150 UG. This is a macro dose, and this is you are going to be in that LSD energy for 12 hours, if not longer. But this is not, oh, in the background. This is full experience for that long. And it is
Mm.
visuals, it is walls moving, it is direct messages from the universe. I would say the only difference from LSD to mushrooms is the guidance system. Mushrooms has a guided energy that, like I mentioned, the intelligence from the mycelium network. It's about communication. It's almost like a spirit guiding you to talk with yourself. LSD can be similar if you have the right set and setting, if you have the right music playlist. But if you are just anywhere around, um, it can feel like a void. And so it's almost like you're at the whim of your environment. Your environment is not there to help shape you, it's almost there to magnify the experience. So LSD is an amplifier of a type of psychedelic. So if you're in a correct set and setting, this can be the most liberating, self connecting, amazing experience of your life. If, however, you aren't properly prepared and are in a very stressful environment, you can go into mania, you can go into a little bit of psychosis, and this is important to have someone around to sit with you at least for the first 3 to 4 hours of a large LSD experience. So even though LSD is renowned for the music that it has inspired in our pop culture and rock and roll scene, and as well as the movies and the media and the movement in all of its consciousness expansion, it is a powerful psychedelic and it is meant to be used by humanity. But it's just about your mindset around it, how you approach your dosage, and as well being able to really have a pure intention when wanting to work with these different substances. So we're gonna
Mhm.
migrate to our next psychedelic. If you have any questions about
Before
LSD,
we go,
yes.
can we go over the micro and macro dosages for LSD again? Because I didn't get them.
Yes. So if you're going to work with LSD, and let's say it's in the form of a tab, and this is like a little paper, you want to cut that tab into 9 pieces. So 4 little strips, and then each of those little strips, cutting them into threes, and you have 9 little squares. And one of those little tiny squares, 1/9, is a microdose. This is
Mhm.
totally functional. You can go about your day and you'll have heightened euphoria and a sense of deep understanding and clarity. Um, I would say one strip, so it's 3 little pieces, one strip of an LSD tab is a stimulating microdose. You may not be able to drive as easily. So I wouldn't recommend it. But being at home, having good music, you can get a lot of body release and yeah, a lot of emotions probably moving out from your space. So these are the different types of dosages for LSD on a microdose scale. Frequency on that, maybe trying it for every other day for um, about a week and a half, and then taking a month break, as this is something that, not that you can get addicted to, but your tolerance increases a lot on LSD, and you will have to take more in order to feel more um, with this type of medicine. So this is why the microdosing protocol is a lot shorter, but you will get a lot of benefit in in the long term if you take those month breaks to really integrate those experiences. So, any other questions?
Mm. The macro dose is anything over the 3 squares or the one strip.
Yeah,
Um,
macrodose would be the full tab.
oh, a full piece of paper, all 9.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So yeah.
okay.
So if you
Probably
want
ain't
to
gonna
go
be happening, but okay.
number large, you can try half a tab, and this is
Yeah.
manageable, but full on, but manageable. A
Mm-hmm.
full tab would be you're in it, and I know my friend recently did 2 drops of LSD recently, and this is the pure liquid LSD, so it's not in paper form. This is just
Yeah.
in a full dropper, and he took 2 of those drops, and he was fully in it for over 12 hours. He said the next day he was waking up with still some visuals. So that's almost 24 hours. I would say it's
Wow.
very strong. So one tab is a good, full experience. Anything above that, then you're heading into psychonaut territory, and you really better have some experience in the before going and attempting that. Never would I recommend a brand new person to try this. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Mm. Any last questions around Alex?
No, that's it.
Perfect. Okay, we're gonna move up to DMT. And this is a probably you've heard of people in inhaling DMT pens or DMT from a pipe. And this is found everywhere. But the samosa tree is most common where it's extracted from. You can get it from a lot of places. It's in us, in our bodies. It's in uh, the flowers and the trees. It's everywhere around us. But the molecule is dimethyltryptamine. And this is a very powerful experience. DMT is a short. experience. It's only 30 minutes of an experience, round trip, but it is a powerful experience. Lots of visuals. Um, some people think of it as connecting to the grid. So when I say that, think of this world, but also there's a dimension outside of this that is a deep interconnected grid that has more to do, that's past this reality. You can think of it as an Alex Gray painting. If you've ever seen those immaculate psychedelic drawings and paintings, um, they're trying to capture this experience that DMT gives you. And it's different for everybody. And you have to be able to hold in the smoke. Um, and sometimes you don't fully break through. And when I say break through, it means you're exiting this experience into past this experience. Think of there being a dome around you, and DMT helps to push you past this dome. But the first time you try DMT, you may not go past. You may just be floating around in the dome. This is just aware of your surroundings. The colors are enhanced. Maybe the walls are moving, but you don't go past. Um, you may have to try it a few times. This is also something I would recommend to do with a sitter, as some people may not be able to fully break through on their own. They may need a second person to hand the pipe to them, asking them to inhale one more time and to hold it longer in order for them to fully break through. And these breakthrough experiences are what people heal from when they've had PTSD, when they've had deep childhood trauma, when they've been in a super depressive funk. Breakthrough moments like this help to liberate people from these energetically contracted zones and modes. So DMT is very powerful. So it's definitely there on the scale. We're gonna move to the next psychedelic. Do you have any last questions around DMT?
Dosage is just, oh, just inhale. You just have the pipe, you just inhale it. It would be just one hit if you can manage to hold in the smoke, but maybe you might need to do it again. Okay, then I did catch it. No questions.
Yes. It's really hard to dose DMT if it's straight from a DMT pen. Um, yeah, it's
So if
hard.
it, so you said having it in a pipe, probably because like I would have no idea how much to put in the pipe. So it's just better to just go to somebody who administers it.
Yes, I mean that would be a best case scenario. But I know for experienced people, they just have a DMT pen and they're experienced. They know how long to inhale, and then they will be off to the races. Um, they will do several
How
rounds of.
many, this is a pin typically. Like how many times could you possibly use it?
It's a good quality DMT pen. It can have around 100 hits in it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It can last a while.
Okay. Mhm. And
So
how often would you want to do this?
I mean, it's one of those psychedelics that really unground you. Um,
Mhm.
but of course, it does it purposefully so that you can get a larger perspective
Mhm.
in your life and around how you've been operating. So I would say anything in moderation. I mean, there are some people who can hit that DMT pen every day, and are they the most grounded people in the world? No.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
therapeutically, working with it once a month is totally manageable. Um, and if some people working with it once every 7 years is enough for them,
Wow.
there's these types of experiences that people have. It's so unique and it's so different for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a good
Okay.
question. It's a good question.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah.
So We're going to move next to Wachuma and peyote. And this is a cactus psychedelic. So, Wachuma is considered a heart medicine. Both Wachuma and peyote are mescaline psychedelics. That means that they are a little bit different than the others. And the mescaline in the psychedelic is an antidepressant. Um, and as well, the type of experience you can expect if you take a wachuma or a peyote cactus, they're prepared differently. It can be dried and powdered, and you mix it in the water as a tea, or it can be cooked as a brew, like you're cooking hot cacao. Um, these are the two different ways that it's taken. But I would say it can be microdosed and it can be macrodosed. A microdose is very similar to mushrooms, but more closely with MDMA. It's like a huge heart opening energy. It gives you the energy of mushrooms, creativity of mushrooms. You won't be having any psychedelic visuals on a microdose of wachuma or peyote, just heightened euphoria, connected to your body, and feeling extra open and maybe chatty, or compassionate with yourself. Macrodose, though, on peyote and wachuma can be similar to an ayahuasca experience. So they say that if you want a substitute for ayahuasca, you work with wachuma and peyote. And that just means that you have these very strong visuals on a macrodose, and you can have very strong purging sensations, going to the toilet, uh, being able to as well having yourself purge and vomit. So these are just different ways that the body helps to remove energy. So you can think of this as a very shamanic medicine, as almost all psychedelics are, but this is also a psychedelic that's been used a lot in Mexico, lots of South America, and it's been used for thousands of years. So it's just one of those medicines that it shows you what you're ready to see, what you're ready to embrace. Um, and it can be difficult for some people, as the sensations are very hard on the body sometimes on a large macrodose. But people usually come out of it either humbled and super grateful for partaking. So let's see. Any questions around Wachuma and peyote?
Yes, you made an interesting statement. You said that when you purge, it's your body's way of removing energy. Um, so, presumably energy that you don't need or don't need to have. Uh, Help me with that statement. Can you say a little bit more about that statement?
Yes, so I won't go all the way to say that it needs to happen that way. Um,
Uh-huh.
it's more taxing on the body when it does happen that way. But it is a release valve 100% for your body. So some traditions, even in mushrooms, like with Maria Sabina, she's a very skilled curandera who would push people to have a purge on mushrooms because that would be the release valve that she knew how to maneuver with people, to how to remove a disease, to remove the pain, to remove the the spirit that was, there was this is energy. It was a release valve. um,
Mm-hmm.
Other medicines just have it more historically ingrained to be used that way. Ayahuasca and peyote are just one of those medicines that it will use one of those release valves to get energy out of your body. Um, and you can resist it, or you can let it do what it needs to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Either way,
Okay.
your body's going to be taxed through it. So it is, as in a sense, a warrior medicine of sorts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did that kind of clarify the question?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and just like mushroom,
I asked that because I've had an ayahuasca experience where I don't know. I didn't feel like I was being stubborn, but it took like 3 doses. And so a couple of hours, I guess, maybe for me to fully go in. And it wasn't until until I vomited. It was almost like immediately I was in it. And it wasn't that I was trying not to vomit, it's just that I wasn't feeling anything. And then as soon as that happened, I was immediately in it. So I just thought that was an interesting statement you made.
yes, yes, these release valves are there for a reason, and um, if you let the body do what it needs to do, it will move the energy along, and it won't remain stuck. But is it
Yeah.
fun? Is it
And vomiting is one of my least favorite things in the world. So now that I know what you just said, I will be less resistant to that.
Yes. And I would say the last thing I will mention about Wachuma and peyote is the time dilation. It also has a very similar feel where you can't tell how long it's been. It feels like forever. Um, I think all of them have that sensation, except for the very last psychedelic that I will mention, where it's the complete opposite. Um, so again, Wachuma and peyote, you can be in it on a full macro dose for about 6 hours, same 5 to 6 hours, long experience. Um, okay, we're gonna migrate and move into ayahuasca. So, any last questions around Wachuma and peyote?
No.
Okay, so here we will start with ayahuasca. Most people don't know is that there's a few different brews. People just think, oh, there's just the one ayahuasca, and you take the one ayahuasca. But there's actually a yellow ayahuasca, and then there's a red and brown ayahuasca. Most people take the red and brown ayahuasca. This is the ayahuasca that has a full color show. You have the visuals, you have the symmetry, you have the full ancestral geographic patterns and animals, and the red and brown ayahuasca have this full color show experience. And I say color show because traditionally it's more common to take the yellow ayahuasca, but the yellow ayahuasca is mild, and you don't get any as much, I wouldn't say not any visuals, but as much visuals as you would on the other ones. And people, if they're going to pay money for an experience, they want to have the full thing. So most people work with the brown and the red ayahuasca. But in the past, they would most normally take the yellow ayahuasca. Um, Also, it is, like I mentioned, anywhere from 5 to 6 hours of an experience. And typically with this medicine, you do have to be on a specific diet in order to have a smooth and deep experience with ayahuasca. You have to cut out foods from your diet. You have to make sure you're not on any medication, and you are definitely not supposed to be um, diagnosed with any deep mood disorders or schizophrenia, bipolar. Do people still, anyways, take ayahuasca, even though, yes, they do? And out of those people, do they most likely have a psychotic episode? Yes, they do. So, this is just to be very thorough in what kind of facilitator, what kind of retreat center um, you decide to sign up with to really investigate the place that you want to do this type of medicine with. I will mention the energetics of ayahuasca are completely different than mushrooms, LSD, DMT. There's a bit of a buffer with these other psychedelics on the lower part of the scale where you're in your own space. You can share energy here and there if people are with you, but you're in your own space. Ayahuasca is a community healing medicine. So you are sharing energy with the people that you are sitting in ceremony with. And this can be seen as a few ways. You can be processing energy for somebody else. You can also be picking up on energy that is in the room, in the space. You're also opening up energy as a part of the ceremony context. So there's a lot of ungrounded energy in ayahuasca, which is a part of its purpose is to break the frame of rigidity that you've been living in so that you can open up to new ways of thinking, feeling, processing, and the community aspect is important. There is other people that are guided into the ceremony that you end up being in that have certain energetic dynamics that fulfill your specific programming, your trauma, your blueprint, your gifts. These other people here are mirrors for you as well. And when you take this medicine, the walls come down and you are open to all of that energy and information. On the positive side, it can be extremely healing, it can be extremely opening. On the negative side, it could be re traumatizing if the context isn't supportive. It can also be, um, I would say, you can pick up on energy um, if that isn't necessarily meant for you. And if you don't have the proper facilitators to help you move that energy, you may be carrying it for a while after your ceremony. So, this is also something important to do, consider. Ayahuasca, they always say everybody should have ayahuasca. I don't think everybody should have ayahuasca. Definitely something to consider. Ayahuasca may not be the first thing you want to go towards if you want to work with psychedelics. If it's been on your heart for a long time and you've really researched your facilitators and your medicine center, it's the thing for you. But if it's on a whim and you haven't and researched anything, and I think there's always divine timing. It got called in for you for a reason, but also it's not the first thing to recommend to people. Um, so I'm very neutral about ayahuasca. Is it a beautiful medicine? Absolutely. Is it healing? Yes. Is it for everybody? No. So I definitely am adamant in that. So are there any questions that come up right away around ayahuasca?
No.
Okay, beautiful. And we're gonna move up the ladder here to Bufo. So Bufo is 5-MeO-DMT, and this comes from the Bufo alivarius toad. It's a desert toad, and they call it, well, they call a lot of things the God molecule, but they also call it
Mm.
the unity medicine. Uh, they also call it the non-dual medicine. Um, for this reason, it's because Bufo has a unique quality to connect you with source. And because of this, you don't have many visuals actually. You do get separated from your body temporarily, and it is just a 30-minute experience round trip, just like DMT, except it's so different because of that 5-MeO. Um, bufotenine molecule in it, it's so much more powerful than DMT. And in low doses, it can be extremely therapeutic. And you don't have ego dissolution, but you have huge trauma release waves. Bufo is a cycles medicine. So if you have one round of Bufo, let's say at a low dose, you feel not much, you feel maybe light, maybe meditative. You have another round at a medium dose. Whoa, you have a bit more energy coming up. Um, let's say you get a whole wave of something releasing from your body. Let's say you do it again and you do it at the same medium dose. It's a completely different experience. Maybe you have euphoria or bliss, and you typically want to stop and end on a session on a positive note. You can keep going in these cycles where new material will pop up, maybe weird, negative, or dense, energetic stuff will come up. And then you do another round and then you feel light and clear. It's clearing things in cycles. And so Bufo is non-dual for that reason because of its complete energetic around allowing you to see your reason for why you are here. It can give that to you. Not a lot of medicines can give this to you. Bufo can give that to you if you can break through with Bufo. Just like DMT, it's instantaneous. You have 5 seconds after inhaling to decide whether you want to let go or hold on. And if you hold on, it can be really, really difficult. But if you let go, it can be really peaceful and super connecting. So this is why this is a medicine you do with experienced facilitators who know what they're doing. Um, this is another medicine like ayahuasca where you can imprint easily. And when I say imprint, it means you are such in a high euphoric state that you see your facilitators as gods, as mother figures, as father figures, mentors. Like you put them on a pedestal because you're so opened up and you're so connected to the universe that the people in the room with you suddenly become the most important thing to you. So this is why it's important to have ethical, grounded, experienced facilitators with you to help guide that process. And if any imprinting happens, so they can, allow you to come back to yourself and not project love, adoration onto you. They will actively try to continue for you to bring it to yourself. And so Bufo
Mhm.
does this in spades. But yeah, any questions around this?
So you are inhaling smoke with that or what? Okay.
Yes, this is vaporized. There are Bufo pens, but it's hard to get an accurate, with this strong of a medicine, it's hard to get an accurate read for whether you want to do a low dose or a high dose. So if you want to do it accurately, the way that experienced facilitators use this is with a flask. So this is um, one of those, science flasks. I know there's a name, Myers flasks, I think they're called. Um, and this is measured. So the medicine is
Mhm.
weighed. I would say if you want to know dose wise, which most people do not, anywhere from 5 to 15 milligrams is a microdose, is a small dose. When you start getting
Mhm.
to 30 to 50 milligrams, this is a medium dose. A large dose of Bufo is anywhere from 80 to 100. milligrams. And this is considered a breakthrough dose for some people. Everyone's different, their constitutions are different. Um, some people may need more than that. I hardly doubt that anyone would need more than 100 milligrams, but in some unethical places, they don't even give people a choice on the dose. They just serve everybody 150 milligrams so that everybody gets a breakthrough dose. And that's typically more medicine than a person really needs. And that person will need lots of integration time to process what that experience was, if they even remember it at all. And it's a waste of medicine. It's honestly a waste of medicine.
Oh, and there's a good chance that on a large dose, you could not remember it at all, the
Yes.
experience.
Because there's
Uh,
a certain capacity to what your consciousness can process that at a certain point on Bufo, if you've had too much, you'll blank out. You'll be gone, come back, and then be like, I don't remember anything. What happened? So this is why a lot of people record their Bufo sessions so they can see what happens. Most people are shaking. They're sounding. They're exaltating. Um, but this is all how the body needs to move. Some people purge. It's not very common, but it
oh,
can happen.
did you see that movie Blink Twice?
Blake,
Blink Twice, the
I
movie.
I don't think so, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah, no, it's people have been talking about it a lot. I was just wondering, if that might have been the drug that was given to the people, but that's it.
Blink twice.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, it's not a positive movie, so I'm not recommending it. It's quite an interesting movie, but yeah, I'm just wondering, yeah. Whatever drug was given,
No, well,
these
I'll
people
I'll
don't.
have to at least look up the trailer.
Yeah, you can look up the trailer and then you'll probably be like, oh yeah, I heard of that, because people talked about it a lot. But if you're wanting to stay in your bubble, in your positive bubble, I'm not recommending it. So, yeah.
No,
Okay, that was it.
okay, no,
Interesting.
but yes, but Bufo has a very interesting energy, and this is the last thing I'll say about Bufo before we enter the last category of our list. Um, when you take Bufo, it's like Martin Ball. He's an amazing writer who talks about Bufo and 5-MeO DMT. The way he says it is that it's hard to give people consent. It's hard for people themselves to give full consent for Bufo because when you take a large dose of it, you're literally hitting a reset button. The being that you are, Marbella, Victoria, is almost not erased, but like kind of erased. And then you are in a new energy, new you. That's at a if you break through on Bufo, there's whoever you were before, they're gone. It's blank slating you. So this is why when you want to do a full breakthrough dose like that, and that's if you can fully remember, because for those people who do forget and don't remember their experience, um, yeah, they just may not be able to have that full kind of reset embodied version of where they could be if they use the medicine, if they were given the chance to use the medicine properly. But yeah, you
Okay,
take
I'm sorry. I don't know if I understood what you meant. So the person that is you is no longer there. Once the experience, which is about 30 minutes,
yes.
is done, and this is the one that you can keep refiring. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
can go for multiple rounds. So once that's done, do you ever fully come back to yourself? Or, well, I guess
Yeah,
none of these you can't unknow what you've seen. You can't unsee what you've seen. But do you reconnect with the energy that you know as you when it's
yeah. So
done, or not really?
this is a good this is a good question. I will rephrase what I mentioned before because the core essence of who you are will never leave. The core essence of
Hmm.
who it is that you truly are will never go. But everything else that's been layered on top and caked on you like sheetrock, that will go. And
Hmm.
it may take people a long time to work their way up to a full dose of bufo before they're ready to really let go. Um, but those that do, it like full slate resets you back to your original, essence and design of who you are, what you're meant to do here, kind of thing.
So that's a big statement. So when you say that, you let go and you are back to your original design, but that could have been many lifetimes ago.
And
Yes?
have this weird experience of, oh my gosh, in the booth, oh, I like they just saw like 100 different lifetimes in that
Mm,
experience. So yeah,
wow.
that's it.
Mm.
I wouldn't say that unless I saw a client before me experience this. So this is what I'm
Oh,
about about that. It is hard to give people consent for these larger doses. Your soul has to know that it's time. We
yeah, because there's no way you could consciously know what's gonna happen. Yeah, I
would
understand
never
that.
recommend anyone to do a full dose of bufo ever. I can't give people that consent. They have to want want to do this. So
Wow, okay. Can I ask, I'm assuming you've done all of these at some point because you're so well versed.
yes, I've worked with
How
all
large
of these
of a,
medicines, but I
how
will say
large of a, yeah.
I have not taken a full breakthrough dose of bufo. I've taken,
Mhm,
I think the most was like 50 milligrams, which is like a medium dose.
mhm,
It's a lot
mhm,
of beautiful transformation and healing just working at the medium dose with clearing
mhm,
layers, feeling liberated, clearing layers, feeling liberated. Um,
mhm.
yes, I still have not, you know, I think
Right.
I will
It's just not time yet.
this
Yeah.
month. I will this month.
Okay.
Our last medicine that we will discuss is iboga, and this is a African root bark, and this is very different than all the other psychedelics. This is at a full dose, it can be anywhere from 36 to 42 hours long. So it is a very beautiful healing plant medicine. It is my favorite plant medicine. Um, and it also can be microdosed. And if you're taking the root bark, anywhere from a gram to 2 grams is considered a microdose with the root bark. If you're taking an extraction, which is more along the lines of pure ibogaine, would be maybe around 5 to 10 milligrams is a microdose. But
Okay.
this is a medicine that you definitely want to make sure you have a healthy heart. Um, so you want to take all your blood work, you want to take EKG tests, you just want to make sure that everything's firing in all cylinders because unlike other psychedelics where your heart rate increases when you're on it, Iboga slows down your heart and it decreases the rhythm of your heart. This is why you can be in it for 12, 24, 36 hours, but it doesn't feel that long. The time goes by very quickly. And by the time you're done, it's like, oh, it's over. It's like it's because of that slowness. This is a neurological rewiring medicine. So it not only works on your mind, but it works on your nervous system, it works on your brain, it works on your organs. It really does reset you biologically. Bufo resets you energetically. Um, and Iboga resets you biologically. You can have renewed taste buds. Um, I will give you a little example of when I first did my first Iboga. I did probably a half dose from a full dose. A half dose was 12 hours of an experience, and I had no nausea. I could go up to the bathroom and back laying down all by myself. But the result of that session was I had no thoughts in my brain for a week. So I was able to just live very peacefully after my iboga. I can you even imagine what it's like to go a whole week with just no thoughts, just walking very peacefully. That is
Mhm.
the neurological reset that iboga gives you. It's this time period of where you can make brand new choices because there isn't a recurring thought loop keeping you in the same
Mhm.
mode, same state. And it
Mhm.
really opens you up to making new choices, creating new habits, and being able to find a life that better suits you, without your own hardware getting in the way. So this is a very beautiful medicine. I would say it's a little different than other psychedelics visually wise, energetically wise as well. With other psychedelics, mushrooms is very outwards, ayahuasca is very outwards, San Pedro and LSD is very outwards. Like, it could be about aliens, it could be about um, God, it could be about entities, it could be about fairies, it could be about all these different things outside of you. Iboga is very inward. It's all about you, your childhood, your behaviors, your parents, your ancestors. It's very in. This is why it's a root medicine. It really digs you deep at the core of what it is that how you got in your own way. And it clears you to have a straight and perfectly aligned mind around how to fix that for yourself. It's not a medicine that tells you, oh, you need this, this, and this. It's a medicine that tells you, oh, you're ready to let go of that, that, and that. It simplifies, and it's the art of subtraction kind of medicine. It lets you know what you need to remove from your life so that you can have more simplicity and you can have more ease. Um, so it's definitely different than like all the others, and in some cases it's so intelligent that it will use other psychedelics in its medicine journey with you. It can change into mushrooms, it can change into bufo, it can change into ayahuasca in your medicine session. If it sees that it needs that, it will give that to you. So it will morph into different psychedelics. So it's kind of seen in Africa as like, yeah, top shelf psychedelic, like the psychedelic, end of the line psychedelic. You've gone through your whole gamut of different psychedelics. Iboga's the one that you're like, I don't need anything else other than this one, kind of thing. So
Where would you get that? Where would you source it from? Is
it
it easy to get a hold of or?
it is not easy to get a hold of, but we have a license to import it.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have access to importing Iboga, but it is so hard to get reliable, good quality Iboga, because it is only one place you can get it. It's in Gabon, in the center.
Wow, one of the smallest countries too, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Oh,
this is a little bit about iboga and all the other different types of psychedelics. So
did we talk about MDMA?
no, it's not a psychedelic.
That's not, that's synthetic, right?
It's an MAOI inhibitor, but it's not.
Okay, so that doesn't belong here. Got
n-
it.
No, it was referenced shortly as a energetic state comparison, but it's not a psychedelic. However, for people who have taken a large overdosing amount of MDMA will beg to differ. They will say it is 100% a psychedelic and that they will start seeing things on that. But that has to be a large amount, like 300 milligrams.
Mhm.
But I can't imagine taking that much MDMA. That's
Mhm.
dosing doses. So, but yes, it's not a
Yeah,
psychedelic, but if you take a lot of it,
yeah,
it
got it.
it
Yeah,
can
no,
produce.
mhm. Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So yeah, any
Wow.
last questions around this whole list?
No. This is a
It's a
lot. This is
lot.
a lot
It's
of
a lot.
information. Mhm. But I definitely see
The-
what you mean in terms of if your intention is pure around experiencing these things, that my approach, I guess, for me would be to wait until I am instructed that it's time. Now that I understand how to use mushrooms to get like a more reliable, not experience, because the experiences are all different, but the experience happens now. Remember, I told you before, nothing was happening. So
yeah.
now that I'm in that space where something's happening, I'm pretty content. And I guess I'll just wait for further instruction before going to anything else. The only other thing on this list that I've experienced is ayahuasca. And it was a good experience, but it was one of those things where I think I did it a year ago, maybe this time a year ago. It actually feels like it might have been longer. It might have been 2 years ago. I don't know. But the integration of it was so long that I really didn't feel like, I might be ready to do it, coming up sometime soon. But like I said, it's been a while. And I'm perfectly content with the long integration period. So
Yes, absolutely. No, the most people underestimate the integration period of ayahuasca. Um,
mhm,
I'm really glad you took your time to really be with yourself and the process before wanting to go again for another round. But of
mhm,
course, it is something that is offered here in Thailand, which is pretty amazing. And there's a good team here that we also work with alongside of, so that people have also a good experience. Like
yeah.
one things that I didn't really mention, but that can be good even for people listening back to this video. Um, when you work with ayahuasca, typically, traditionally, you work with a pair of four different medicines alongside it. So there's kambo, rape, ayahuasca, and sananga. And all these medicines work together. Um, the combo helps to ground your body and detox you and bring your strength back to you before and or after an ayahuasca experience. Ayahuasca is here to uplift you and to take you into a different state of being, but can temporarily unground you. Rape is also used as an herbal medicine, snuff, to help move energy in your body. It will be used as an intervention tool if energy is stuck. It can help to unstuck you, but also it's used to ground you and bring clarity. Sananga is also a grounding medicine, but it is, I would say, it's an eye drop medicine. So It's administered in the eyes and it's called lightning in the eyes. It is painful, but it helps squeeze the fear out of your body so that you are lighter, more clear, and connected to your body. So Sananga can be used.
Usually during this ceremony, you use all four with the ayahuasca or in advance of it?
Combo typically will use rape and sananga in a combo ceremony before and or after ayahuasca.
Oh, okay.
Ayahuasca, you can use rape and sananga during ayahuasca.
Okay. I wonder, is that why it took so long for me to go under? I had rape.
Mhm.
That was it, to my knowledge. I would imagine I would have been told if there was more. The rape was absolutely freaking amazing because I did feel the energy move. I had had an ankle injury a couple of years before, and so my ankle was just kind of wonky. And I literally sat there and felt it clear it up. And I've not had a problem to this day. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's underestimated. When you work with rape, you can do a whole ceremony just with rape with a specific.
Mm-hmm.
They can really help you move energy for that intention. So I love rape. I use it before bed at night to clear the energy of the day and let my body come back into stillness so that when I go to sleep, I'm clear and ready for the dream world. So it is a
Mm-hmm.
with as well. So, but
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay. And that one, there's no danger with taking that daily or several times a day.
I would say
Even though
indigenous.
I didn't think it was a pleasant experience, I wouldn't say. So I probably wouldn't want to, but.
Indigenously, it's used several times a day. People
Mhm.
will play music, do rape. Go for a walk, come back, do rape. Chat with each other, do rape again as they're chatting with each other. They will use this several times throughout the day. Uh,
Okay.
I would say depends on the person and their lifestyle. I probably only use rape once every other day.
Mhm.
If I'm in maybe I use it twice a day. But it's, yeah, like you mentioned, it's very spicy. It's not the
Yeah.
most comfortable sensation, but the after effects, it's like you have to be like, I'm ready to do the
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
no, they have to make it well worth it for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
people can take it daily. If anything, maybe it stuffs them up a little bit if they use it a little bit too often, but it also helps clear the sinuses as well. If you're coming out with
Mhm.
or yeah, you feel congested, it can help clear a lot of this as well. So it's used medicinal
Mhm.
in that aspect as well.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Yep. Well, lots of information here.
Yes,
So thank you.
thank you so
Thank
much for showing up.
you.
We're just going to be wrapping up here. But for anyone who's watching back, thank you so much. If you have any further details on any of the psychedelics that we covered here today, I will be creating a full extensive course for each of these different psychedelics. So this was just a little brief overview of each one that's typically used in the world right now for healing. It's not all of them. There are plenty more psychedelics, man made and natural. But I will be able to respond back to those who reach out by email and or by my WhatsApp, which you will get in the email if you sign up to the newsletter. So I hope everyone's having a great day. And thank you so much, Victoria, for being in this class here with me today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.